Hello and welcome to the Juniper Veil. So I will be doing a follow-up on my previous video where I talked about the disappearance behind the retired Air Force Major General William Neil McCasland. I did a quick spread to see what could have possibly happened to him. And these are the cards that I got. I was using Parsifal's Wheel Tarot and Astrology spread called The World of Hurt Missing Persons. Um, if you want a recap of that video, or I'll link it below. It's a good watch. I explain more detail about the missing person, so you'll get a bit more of a history there. What came up for him was that I got the foul play concealment card. Could also be a deceased card. But then when I asked if the person was alive or not, right now, at that moment in time that I asked, which was 2 days ago or 1 day ago, I got a yes card. So that kind of contradicted with this death card. So that was curious. And then for when will this person be found, I got, oh, actually, it went this way. There you go. When will this person be found? I got the Five of Cups. Cups mean months. So this would indicate 5 months. We would know what would have happened to him. The King of Cups stood for him, and we got a king, the cups meaning water. Could he be found someplace near water? This is also a water card here because it's also cups, possibly. But he's in the desert, so it's hard to say. I don't know he disappeared in Albuquerque. I don't know much about Albuquerque other than desert. They searched for him using the heat sensing thermo, but because it's so hot there right now, that the everything was lit up with a heat signature. All of the rocks were retaining heat, so it was very difficult for them to use that to find someone who may be out in the desert somewhere. So I don't know why I got water. Water could also mean the Northeast, meaning the Northeast of the United States, but he disappeared from Albuquerque. It looks like it was on foot. So I don't expect it to mean something like that. Um, so we'll see. So if anybody knows anything about Albuquerque, please leave a comment. I would like to know more about the location itself and just to understand what it's like out there. And just remember that this is for entertainment purposes only. Would I like to be able to help somehow? Sure, but this is just a tarot reading. So I can't sit here and say that I know exactly what's going to happen or anything like that. And here is for entertainment purposes only. Did a new background so that YouTube doesn't think that I'm posting the same video over and over again. Switch things up. I'm going to use my endless tarot cards. I'm going to do a Mirama. I looked up how to pronounce this before I started, and now I forgot. Mirorama. And I'm probably going to do a panorama. So the panorama, there's a panorama sequence. So I'm going to lay out the cards, as many as I choose, and I'm going to see how they work together. The panoramas can be anything like viewing the scene as a snapshot. So everything that all the cards that you lay out, they have something to do with like a scene or a moment in time. The sequences are different. That's when you read from, left to right. Panoramas, you don't have to. You can kind of blend them together. It doesn't have to be left to right. Panoramas also will interact with each other in different ways, so you can kind of move the cards around. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to pull, I don't know if I'm going to pull 5 or 6 cards. I'm not going to do reversals. I don't know. I feel like kind of pulling 6 cards. Again, this deck is called The Endless Tarot by Eric Maile, Maille. On the box, he has 1 L, but then online he has 2 L's. So I think his last name is Maille. If you want to look it up, he has a Patreon page as well. These are great decks. They're beautiful. They're kind of soft and nice. Very easy to shuffle. And I just want to get a lot of practice in with the panoramas, because with the panoramas, you're not just thinking about what does the tarot, the tarot card itself, what does it mean? But there's a lot to do with what are you seeing? How are the cards interacting with each other? Is there a figure in one card who's looking at a figure in another card, sort of thing. And that can give you more insight. So what I want to know is what happened that day, the time when Neil went missing. What happened? What happened to Neil at that time he went missing? What happened to Neil that day he went missing? At the time he went missing. Okay, let's do, I guess, 6. 5 of Swords, the Devil. 10 of Cups, the World. 5 of Cups, King of Pentacles. All right, so this is already pretty interesting. We have 2 5 cards. 5s are very difficult numbers. Definitely the 5 of Swords. You see here somebody hiding behind a rock. He looks like he's going to go after this person that's on the horse coming up. We have the Devil card sitting here on the rock with a very long tail. And this Devil card is watching this play out here. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is like a happy families card. It's a completion because it's a 10 card. Cups are emotions. They're also a water card. It could also be about social relationships, comfort, and the unconscious mind. Then we have the World card. So the World card is like that end of the major arcana. Can also talk about the world itself. What's interesting is that you have this rainbow here, and then you have these beautiful colors here. It kind of looks like a portal here, right? That looks like a portal. So it looks like you're looking out into the universe or a different dimension. 5 of Cups, another water card, but again, it's a 5. So that's difficulties. You see everything in here, the water is dried up. The plants are dried up, kind of like the desert. Then we have the King of Pentacles. What's interesting about the King of Pentacles is sometimes this stands for Taterhead. Could also stand for somebody who is very powerful and has a lot of money. So this could also just be some sense of authority. Already, I'm getting some interesting ideas from this because if you don't know, there are rumors going around because Neil worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He was in command of Wright-Patterson. That has people linking him to UFOs. People believe that bodies of aliens were stored at Wright-Patterson. His wife has denied that he knows anything about that. What else? What else? Desert. They said he took what is actually, I should say this. What is missing from the home that they think he may have left with is a revolver, um, a leather holster for the revolver, a red backpack in his wallet. He did not take his phone or any wearable devices, and I believe he did not take his prescription glasses. So that's very interesting. Um, there was also something else that this was making me think of. The cups are, like I said, unconscious minds. He's a very smart man, but he had been having issues with brain fog. His wife said that he did not have dementia, but he had retired because he was having issues with brain fog. I read that in an article uh, from Eyewitness News, ABC's Channel 7. So I will put that link in the description, that article. Um, and the repair person who was at their house at the time said that it seemed like he was having some brain fog moments. So that is also something I want to keep in mind, because when I see this dried up cups, it's like, to me, like there's a, not only does it seem like the desert, but it's very much like subconsciously his mind maybe there, or it's having, maybe having a little bit of issues. This Five of Swords says to me that somebody was waiting for him and the devil was watching, like somebody was coming for him or controlling him in some way. This King of Cups came up as concealment and foul play, which kind of makes me feel as though that is accurate to hear. The Ten of Cups, there's a completion, and to me this is like a completion of happiness. This is almost like a completion of life to me, which is a little scary. But like that's the feeling I get from it. I'm gonna look that a little bit more because I don't want to jump to that conclusion. Completion of, because it's a happy home, family, and community. The buildings or stone wall might seem to physically connect to other nearby structures, a large community coming together. If it's separate from its surroundings, it may indicate a small gathering of family and close friends. Take a moment to notice if any other figures in your reading seem to be moving toward the place here. So that could actually just be, because I'm asking about the day that he went missing. His wife, of course, notified police. She reached out to family and friends and asked if anybody knew of him or knew where he was. That could be what this is talking about. It doesn't, because it doesn't really link to anything besides this kind of like portal for the world. So this is either the news getting out, or it's has something more to do, because it's he was in the Air Force, and the conspiracy theories talk about UFOs and aliens, and this is space, and the rainbow is in space. I mean, that's very interesting. Do I want to go ahead and say, well, that means that it has something to do with UFOs? Not really, but that's a, I mean, tell me your interpretation of that. I mean, and it doesn't, it's not, I guess when I say that, I don't mean that literally. I mean that like he, was very high up. I'm sure he had high security clearance. There is something, some information that he may know. Doesn't have to do with aliens, but this may like represent that secret, you know? And for some reason, people didn't want him to talk. I don't know if he was planning to talk. I don't know if they were worried because of if he was getting that brain fog. Were they worried about that something was he was going to say? I don't know. I think this has to do more with having knowledge of higher security secrets. Um, but also, you know, this is the world kind of finding out that he went missing. And I think somebody with a lot of money is behind this. Somebody very powerful and with a lot of money is behind this. This devil is standing there watching. I mean that right there, they're watching. The family has their backs. This is like a completion. The family are looking, right? There's a long path here. They're looking for him. This is somebody very powerful with a lot of money and the people that work for them. They're kind of coming back to him to let them know the news, what is happening. Or they're bringing Neil to him. They could be bringing Neil to him. I think it has something to do with the desert. There's this dryness, you know? There's this no water, dryness. This card said he was alive. This one says he'll be found in 5 months. At least when I pulled these cards, this specifically asked, is he alive right now? And at the time that I pulled the cards, it said yes. And he has been missing for 3 weeks. So maybe he's being held someplace. I mean, it's very interesting because the police even now are still looking through a bunch of security cameras, and they haven't said whether they've actually found anything on those security cameras, and it's been 3 weeks. So that's kind of curious, you know. If they did see something, did somebody else get to them and say they can't say this, or are they just not ready to say, you know, what they found, which is could be understandable. You know, if you're in the middle of investigation, you're not just going to blah, you know, tell everybody everything about what you found. Let me look up the devil when it comes to the parent. Oh, look, I opened up right to it. And the panoramas. The two small figures depicted near the bottom. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Look at that. Two small figures depicted near the bottom of the devil card may appear even smaller. Ask yourself, the devil card appears disjointed by the rest of your reading as a result, thrown out of perspective. Perhaps this indicates an imbalance with the way you embrace the material world. You may also find figures and other cards in your reading who might seem to have made their way to the devil or are leaving it behind. What does the devil offer to your larger reading? Basically, I'm saying the devil is watching what's happening here. He's watching the abduction. That to me says abduction. That to me says he's being brought to whomever said, we need this to happen. What's interesting is the King of Pentacles has these horns. It looks kind of like a devil. The devil here doesn't have horns, but that King of Pentacles also sort of looks like a devil. Just trying to see if anything else comes to me. I mean, those two figures, right? They could be like Adam and Eve in a sense. There is this tree. It's probably an apple tree. Apples are like knowledge as well. This man who went missing, Neil, he was very smart. He had a lot of knowledge. So he had a lot of learned knowledge. He also probably knew a lot of secrets. So I think somebody took him. There's something bad behind it. There was a plan. Devil's watching. Family started looking for him. There's something to do with secrets here because of this image, this portal, What does that mean, the portal? But also the world. The world is going, it has something to do with the world. Either the secrets, maybe the secrets he knew had something special that would affect the world. The Five of Cups being dry. I mean, I think it does have to do with the desert, but I want to look into that just a little bit more. Mourning, grief, regrets, trouble in the past. And that is in a graveyard. That trouble in the past is very interesting. I think that there could be trouble with, I think this also has to do with the mental fog. He probably still had that issue with mental fog when they took him. And then I think they brought him here. Either he did something or he said something to somebody that caused them to take him. He has regrets. I think that's what these cards are saying. So that's what I asked, what happened that day. I think this is what happened that day. So now I'm going to ask the yes or no cards something. I'm going to ask the yes or no cards, does his wife know more about what happened to him? And I can understand if there are things that she can't say considering his position and the work that he did. But is there something? So I'm not saying that she's part of it or anything like that. I'm just asking, are there other things that she may know that she cannot say in regards to his disappearance? Yes, but stay grounded. So I think this is saying yes, but it's nothing crazy, magical. Maybe don't think about UFOs. Maybe she said he didn't have anything to do with UFOs. She could be 100% honest, truthful with that. But of course, there's other things that she may know that are a lot more practical. And maybe she probably told the police, but she just can't tell um, the newspapers or reporters or anything like that. Probably. Um, what else do I want to ask? I'll ask right now. Is Neil McCasland, William Neil McCasland, is he still alive? Yes. So he is alive. I think somebody has him someplace. I think he's alive, but he's being held somewhere. Let's see. What else would I want to ask about this? I guess I want to ask if the cards can tell me who is behind this? Who is behind Neil's disappearance? Going to see how the cards play out with this. I don't know if I've ever asked them about like people in general trying to, of course, they're not going to give me a name or anything, I don't think, but maybe they'll give me a general idea of who is behind Neil McCasland's disappearance. And what was interesting is that he disappeared not too long after Taterhead said that he would release files on UFOs. So it's interesting. Could be a coincidence. Could be a coincidence, but it's still interesting. I don't know. I don't want to go all conspiracy theory, but I also don't want to rule things out and ignore things. So Neil is also a big hiker. So, he could have just gotten lost out in the desert. So who is behind? Okay, spirit guides, cards. Who is behind Neil's disappearance? We have a Queen of Cups. We have Justice. Ooh. Four of Pentacles. Six of Swords. And the Four of Cups. Do 5 cards? No, I'll do one more card. Ten of Swords. All right, Queen of Cups. Queens are very strong, feminine ideals. They have wisdom. Cups, water. So this could be a woman in charge of something to do with the Justice Department. Blondie Bondi, perhaps. She's pouring fish into the water, but she also looks like a snake in the grass. We have justice. We have people coming to justice. Somebody is talking from there, right? We have the scales. I think that means the Justice Department had something to do with it for entertainment purposes only. Then we get the Four of Pentacles. We have 2 fours and 2 swords. Pentacles can be about money. Fours are like stability or plans, foundations. A lot of times the fours come up for me like a plan. Like somebody came up with a plan. Could have something to do with money, or it could have something to do with protection, business, economy, or just a protection of knowledge in a way, protection of information. I think the swords are more like information, maybe. But I think it's somebody made a plan. There is probably money involved. But I also think, like, you see, it's like another kind of, it's a dragon on these towers. And there's all these riches here. There's pentacles, there's chests of whatever's in there, who knows, gold doubloons. And there's money involved. And then we have the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is a person who is traveling. They made it basically to their destination. You know, fives are rough. Sixes are a little bit of relief afterwards of the crazy fives. Swords are difficult issues, but also the growth and development of the conscious mind. Then we have the Four of Cups. So another foundation that has to do, but this one has to do with water, comfort, intuition, relationships. Can point to a solution. So this is water. This person's in the water. They're the swords, but they're in the water. Next to them is there's a goose, I guess, or a duck, a swan maybe. And then there's these little little paper boats. So somebody made some paper boats. They put it in the water. And it almost looks like to me that it's like real, fake, 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 fake. Like not not a real animal, not a real animal, not a real animal, not a real animal. Like there's something that's a little different. One thing is not like the other. And then we have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is the completion. It's almost like a death card. We see the sword here has been broken. So, and there's a path ahead of you. So this is like difficult. It could be the ending of a difficult situation, but it could also be the ending of intuition. No, not intuition. Sorry. Of Well, it could be cutting yourself off from intuition. Swords are like that, but it could also be cutting off of the conscious mind. Spiritual pain rather than physical pain. Difficult events. So, what are these cards saying to me? Who is involved? I think there was a woman related with the Justice Department, entertainment purposes only. A plan was created. It has to do with money or protection of something. Could be protection of information. There was the ending of a difficult journey. I think this is somebody made the plan, they carried out the plan. This is somebody, I think, planning to start the rumor mill. One of these things is not like the other. There's a real duck here. That's what really happened. But what about this, and this? Let's say UFOs. Let's say he has dementia. Let's say who knows what else is going to come out, right? Whatever they need to do to kind of keep it hidden. The more they talk about UFOs, the less likely I believe that the major news organizations are going to cover it, probably, because it sounds too much like a conspiracy theory. But that doesn't mean nobody will cover it, because everybody loves a good UFO story. So, and then there's the Ten of Swords. So there's like a completion of a difficult situation. I think they did what they planned to do. What the plan was exactly with him, I don't know. The cards say he's still alive. I wish I could tell you what the plan was with him, but I really think the government has something to do with it. And I get that also from the King of Pentacles in the last reading. There may be a woman in charge, Blondie Bondi, because of this Justice card. Keeping of secrets. There's a plan to hold on to Pentacles, to hold on to information or secrets, or probably has to do with money as well. There's something they didn't want out. They did the deed. They're trying to muddy the information in the news. And they accomplished what they wanted to do. So that's what I see going forward. Remember that in the last reading, I got that he would be found in 5 months, or at least we would know what happened in 5 months. So it is March, August. Maybe we'll know something at August. We'll see. I don't know. But put it on your calendars, kids. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to stop there. So hopefully if he is found, he's found well. I hope nothing bad happens to him. Maybe they are giving him a warning. Maybe they are scaring him, but then they let him go and tell him not to talk and just say he had a lot of brain fog and he got lost and somehow he ended up in, I don't know, Belize. All right. So thank you for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them. I'm also going to do Monica Reza next. Just see, is what happens to her as well. Yes. So please like and subscribe. Please share if you know anybody who would be interested in this. And thank you. Have a great day.